Hi folks, welcome to Bear Mountain today. We are at the time of year when we start planting the anemones back in our crate system. And just kind of want to do a quick video today on changing things up a little bit more again. We're doing another experiment. This time we're pre-sprouting our anemones and actually get them to the point where they're greening up with leaves before we start to stick them in the ground. So what we did is we experimented. This is our pastel mix, Galilee pastel mix. The size of the corms, I think, were about 5/6s. And we did the usual bubbler pre-sprouting type system with it. But then once they were finished with that, we planted them in a potting mix in 6-packs. So what we're trying to do is get a good idea of, as an example, this one here got a little weeds in it, but this is probably, they just started germinating here in the 6-packs about a week ago. And I want to get them at this point where I've got some roots out at the bottom so that when I pull these guys out, I've really got a pretty good developed root system. And then we can use our really pretty fast, let me see if I can get this out. These guys may be in there a little more tougher than I thought. Maybe this wasn't such a great idea. Probably should wet them down a little more maybe. But anyway, there's the roots. They kind of got it started. And we'll just be able to plant these guys directly into the crates. So it's almost kind of like trying to do a similar that you would do for any kind of annual that you're planting, and see if this would give us a better idea. We had a lot of losses in the past where we were putting corms in that were just sort of pre-sprouted, but they really hadn't put any leaves out yet. And then we'd find out that, they had rot or something else, and for the last couple of years. So what we're trying to do this time is like saying, if I got like this 6-pack, I can see right away. I may not have any leaves out of it, but because it hasn't sprouted yet, so it's a little maybe not as aggressive as the other guys. But if there's roots in it, I'd still probably plant this cell. But this cell, as an example, has no roots in it at all, no roots coming out of the bottom. So that tells me that there's a pretty good chance that the corm that was put in here just failed to launch. So I'm going to take this one out and we can just kind of see what happened. Yeah, see, here it is. It's just, okay, it still does have some roots on it.
Does it feel mushy?
It feels soft, even though it's kind of like, it's like right at the top is soft. So there's rot at the top, and that's why it didn't really get going. So this one, even though I got a root at the bottom, I got rot here at the top. And it kind of smells stinky too. So that's an example of what we were facing last year, where we'd see these roots in a pre-sprout. We go, oh, okay, it's still good. But we actually had rots at the tip. And so what happens is something like this, even though it's got like a little green spot, like you go, oh, well, it'll probably germinate. But what happens is the rot just continues to grow. And then you reach a certain point where the corm just fails. And I can feel actually the bottom. Yeah, it's soft. And it's at the bottom too. So, I just broke off the bottom of it, kind of rot. So that's what I wanted to get to. I wanted to get to this point where it'd say, okay, if it's an aggressive enough plant that it's going to put out leaves, and the roots at the bottom look pretty healthy, then I'm going to feel pretty good about putting it in. And so that's kind of where we were trying to get to. So yeah, unfortunately,
every time we do that, then it exists, and then we find anemones out in the grass.
Nah, it's not that thing has rot. It is not going to make it.
Okay, that one probably won't. But in the past, I've found all kinds of little anemones growing.
Well, if that's the case, then I really made a bad judgment.
So I won't be surprised.
So let's take a walk into the crate house, and we can walk through planting some of them and see how we go. I guess what we're trying to do is we're just trying to get away from, planting duds, so to speak. So we'll see if this helps out. Okay, our planting system is pretty much the same as it's always been. We're putting these guys in a crate system. The crates are on top of 4x4 pallets, which are on top of some cinder blocks, just to kind of give us some height above the regular ground. Make it a little easier for picking, and just in general, kind of get it away from something easy to walk up to it. The other thing is our irrigation system. Probably we've talked about this in the past, but it's the same. It's drip. These emitters are half gallon a piece, and they're 4-inch apart. We put 3 strips on over the course of the trays, and our spacing within the crate is 17. We put in 2 rows of 6 and a row of 5 in the center. And the planting's actually pretty easy. So you can see the roots look pretty good. I pulled that out, and we're just going to put this guy in. And we try to plant where we get pretty much even with the ground, the top of the thing. And then when we finish, after we finish all filling in an entire crate, I come back through and I dust the top of the crates with urban compost. Put about probably 1/4 inch to 3/8 of an inch or so on top, and then we water these guys in really good. We tried to water the crates as best we can for a few days before we plant, so that things are in pretty good shape. And then the last thing we're going to do after that is we'll apply Jadam liquid fertilizer. We'll start on a routine of that, and some JMS. We'll apply the Jadam liquid fertilizer, which is a general purpose fertilizer. It's not a high nitrogen thing. We want to stay away from high nitrogen. Just to get these guys going, we'll fertilize them probably every 10 days until right around Thanksgiving or so, and then back off on that during those low light levels until we get closer to middle of January. Then we'll pick it up again depending on how the plants need it. At the same time, when we fertilize, we'll be applying a Jadam microorganism solution to this in a very dilute 1 to 100 basis on it, because these are crates. They're not really deep, and so we want to make certain that we don't put too much on to shock anything, but we want to have enough microbiology kind of growing in here with the plants and the fertilizer to help it out. And that's basically it.
Why the low nitrogen?
What we find is on these guys is if you put too much nitrogen, you get a lot of nice green growth, but the growth is out of balance in a sense, is that there's more attractive things for aphids. Usually when you get a high nitrogen period, if you're applying a nitrogen fertilizer in a low light period of time, you can get a pretty good buildup of free nitrogen in the plant tissues. And that means that the proteins and the sugars aren't balanced in it, and it becomes very attractive. So as soon as it becomes warm enough for aphids to go after them, they will go after the plants.
What about calcium to prevent splitting stems?
We'll be doing that as a foliar feed in January. So once we start to see the bloom stems start to form, that's kind of one of the things we'll do, is we'll apply some calcium, water-soluble calcium, as a foliar on the plants, and probably do that at least, we've done it in the past at least 3 times. And yeah. So that typically is at about a 1 to, I think if I can remember that right, I think it was a 1 to 1,000 level dilution. It's pretty dilute, but it's enough to give enough calcium to counteract if there is, too much nitrogen, and it makes the plants less susceptible to splitting of the stems, and also to aphids too.
And twisting. If you have that stem that looks like it's twisting, that is a calcium problem too.
Right. Well, we've noticed it's been, it'll help fix it out. And also too, we tend to get pretty good long stems here in the crate house too.
Right.
So it kind of helps with that. And in general, I think this cat is really going to be a pain. You got to stay down, buddy. Okay, so that's kind of the basics of it. And being it's October, these guys were started actually about 3 weeks ago. So they're actually going to take off pretty fast, and especially since we've got some green growth on these. The only other thing you might notice is saying, well, gee, they got some netting over on this side. These were two different varieties. We have a blue on the inside. On the outside, we have a pink. And I think this is Galilee blue. And
no, they're maroon.
Is it maroon this year?
Maroon blue and
maroon pink.
Right.
Okay, that's what we got this year. Okay, and this variety here is, you've really got to get
Galilee.
down. Galilee pastel
mix. And Galilee white.
Right. And that's going to fill us out for this year. So I'm trying to make certain that when we put the plants in, we're putting in ones that are growing. So
but you were talking about the net. The reason we put the net up is we found that deer now like anemones.
Yeah.
And they stand on the crates.
They will come in and actually hop on the crates and start munching away.
So the deer have been really bad this year for us. They just...
Well, part of it, they learn new things to eat because we've been in a drought and their natural foods have been...
They were eating, trying to gnaw at our pumpkins and stuff, I guess. But anyway, so we have to net those.
Yep, for a while.
Yeah.
We'll see how we go here. We'll probably have to work on some ideas of how to keep deer from migrating into the houses. We have to keep the hoop house open as much as possible this time of year to get good airflow in here. What we don't want to do is create a high humidity situation because that just invites diseases and things.
Good airflow, cool. These like to grow cool.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And this is a perfect time. These guys should be growing really well. So, I guess I got a lot of work ahead of me. So thanks, folks, for watching. And Carrot says, please don't knock me off the crate again. As always, you guys, stay safe out there, and we'll catch you on the next video.
Okay.
And this is going to be really tough.
Yeah, maybe when I move. Well, now they're both on.
Peas and carrots.
Annoying, but cute.
So take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.